Thursday Night Football. And by the way, just in a few weeks, the boys will be live in studio for Thursday Night Football. Donnie Rightside, yep, that's me. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, full game action, could be. Can't wait for it. And by the way, opening day, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, my goodness. Then that Friday kicks off with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers from Brazil on a Friday night. So it's a perfect segue. Why? Because the Philadelphia Eagles are playing tonight against the New England Patriots. Now, if you want to use air quotes, go ahead, quotes, considering the Philadelphia Eagles playing tonight. This is what's crazy to me. Look, I understand that NFL teams put way more stock in joint practices than they do actually in the games that they're going to play for preseason. The Philadelphia Eagles traveled up to New England and to Foxborough to take on the Patriots in a practice. Typically, though, it's 2 practices, then the preseason game. The Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots only practiced 1 time this week, and the Philadelphia Eagles themselves, probably with the Patriots as well, just had a walkthrough practice yesterday. So you would think that the Philadelphia Eagles then go, okay, second game, dress rehearsal, let's get the starters out there. And I'm not talking about playing for a full half, but get a quarter of work in. I understand how hard they work in training camp. I understand that you're not game planning for a regular season game, and you technically game plan a little bit more for those practices because they're live sessions 11 on 11. You want to take care of each other. You don't want to get anybody hurt. I understand that. But now let's take a look at the odds tonight for this football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. You might find yourself and say, okay, opening line at the FanDuel Sportsbook when this game was out was -3 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, makes some sense. The Eagles starters are more talented than New England. If you go starters for starters, seconds for seconds, the Philadelphia Eagles would probably win this football game. Now you take a look at the line as you see the graphic on the screen. The Patriots, almost a 3-point favorite at -2.5. Now, granted, this didn't change a week and a half ago. The Eagles were the favorite in this football game early in this week with the anticipation of Jalen Hurts, of Saquon Barkley, of that wide receiver trio being out there for the Eagles, Dallas Goedert, the offensive line. You figure they would be able to say, okay, at the end of the first quarter, if it's starters versus starters, what's going to happen? The Eagles will probably have the lead. Therefore, they should be able to carry it with the second half and also into the third quarter and fourth quarter. I don't know if that's the case here. This line swing for me tonight, what does that say? I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are playing anybody tonight then at this point, because there'd be no reason for basically a 6-point swing in the favor of the Patriots if word didn't get out that the Philadelphia Eagles were not going to play their starters. So hear me out on this. You're telling me the offensive starters, now the defensive starters did get a little bit of run in game number 1 for the Eagles against the Baltimore Ravens, snapping that long run of the Ravens never losing preseason games. Great, hold the trophy for that, doesn't mean anything. But are we led to believe here that Jalen Hurts and that offense are not going to take a single snap now in the preseason? Because quite frankly, I don't really think anybody's going to play in week 3 of the preseason. That's usually the card-carrying option that these teams have. Game 3 is just a shutdown. Maybe the last 3 or 4 guys to make the roster, they'll get some burn. But if you're going to have your entire offensive line, your entire backfield, your entire starting wide receiving core and tight end not going to be playing any preseason games. And again, I just told you to start this episode off right here, so this segment, to tell you that, look, you get more out of practice than you do in the games, but there's still something about going through that whole game day, notion, getting on the bus, hitting your playbook, stretching with the team before the game, that whole mindset of getting ready to play a football game. The Eagles are just going to do that against the Green Bay Packers in Brazil, game number 1. That's going to be an interesting scenario if things don't work out their direction. Total in this game, 35.5, 36. At the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, it does sit at 35.5. So, again, we're not expecting a lot of points, and rightfully so. But the Philadelphia Eagles and their expectations on the season are quite high. And I understand. Coach, general manager, they know best. And what would be worse? Hey, we're going to get a series or 2 in against the New England Patriots, and Devonta Smith goes down with a hamstring injury. Now, granted, he could get hurt in practice. He can get hurt in game number 1. But some of those things the coach can never live down. I can't fault a coach for saying the biggest option we have is just to not play and be healthy for game number 1. It does make some sense. But also for the New England Patriots, what are you going to stay healthy for anyway? We don't have high expectations. A new head football coach, you better put that, oomph in those early games to give some of these kids some run, so by the time they get ready for game number 1 and that hellish start that looks like the Patriots are going to have here, look at that, make the playoffs at a plus 920 price, 24-1, that should be a Super Bowl price on an average football team, 24-1 just to win your division, at a 3-1 price here to have a worst record in the NFL. Who would have thought that? under Bill Belichick for all those decades here that they would be in shambles like they are now. But it's preseason football. It's a Thursday night. You're going to watch that kickoff rule. If no Philadelphia Eagles participate in this game, so be it. We'll still be watching on a primetime game. But from my perspective, and you know me being an Eagles fan, I wish those starters would get just a little bit of run here out in these streets. Doesn't look like that's going to happen tonight. Maybe the Patriots pick up a victory. Hour number 2 is on its way next. Keep the dial right here on the Sports Grid Network. Hour number 2 is officially live right here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Donnie Rightside here. Fun in the sun. That's what a lot of these NFL teams are doing right now, which does include the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. Now, let's get to some graphics here on the board and take a look at what the expectations for the New England Patriots actually are going to be this season. 24-25 to make the playoffs. I don't think it's looking all that good here because you take a look at that schedule, and the schedule actually isn't checking out all that well. Now, if we're going on a game-to-game basis here and we're taking a look at the Patriots, game number 1, it's against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think that's going to work out all that well. The reason being that they're much better, and you have a starting quarterback that you have in Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase should be back in the lineup, and all that stuff should, quite frankly, help you out there. Game number 2, it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks here. And where are you going to play the Seahawks? At home? Okay. Well, the Seattle Seahawks have a much better football team. So let's just say that's 0 for 2. Let's get to game number 3. That's the New York Jets. And the New York Jets on the road, that's probably going to be an underdog play, and it's probably going to be a loss again. So now we're taking a look at 0-3 for the Patriots. And I know you can't really trust and say to yourself, this is always what happens in the NFL. Just a better football team that's going to be favored wins these games. That's not necessarily the case, and we understand that. But if we get that graphic back up here, let's keep moving. So I have them at 0-3 right now for the New England Patriots. At the San Francisco 49ers in week number 4. Probably going to be a loss again. Now we're looking at 0-4. You go take on the Miami Dolphins. Again, you're at home. Maybe there's a chance, but if you were the New England Patriots, would you rather have that game maybe late in November, late in December where the weather has changed? Let's just say that's an 0-5 start. Now you get the Houston Texans at home, which last year, like, hey, look, rookie quarterback here, we'll be able to beat them. Now you have one of the better teams anticipated in the AFC coming into your own building. That's another loss. That's 6 straight losses to start the season for a rookie head coach here. And also keep in mind, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Like, Gerard Mayo's got to make a decision here. Do you throw the young Drake May into the Wolves here? Just go with Jacoby Brissett and say, hey, kid, we signed you here. You're a veteran presence. We know you're not going to embarrass us. You're going to be able to run the offense, and we'll take it from there. So that's 6 straight losses to open up the season. Then you take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it looks like that game is going to be played one of those overseas games, I think probably in London. That's typically where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. The Jaguars are a better team. So let's go 0-7 for the Patriots, and I understand. Some days you're going to get good efforts. Some days you're going to get bad efforts out of some of these teams. So that's 0-7. Then you're going to take on the Jets again, who, let's just say Aaron Rodgers is still playing. They're going to beat you. So I think we can do this all the way across. Where are the wins coming from? So instead of let's go like week by week for the New England Patriots, honest, where are these wins actually coming from? The Jets? I don't think so. Here's one. But the problem is it's not even at home. It's at the Titans. Who knows who's going to, Mr. Mayonnaise, maybe a quarterback there, and we'll see if Will Levis can do some things, and DeAndre Hopkins should be back. But there's more talent on that Titans team than the New England Patriots team, and you're on the road. That's a possibility of a win. Going to the Bears. The Bears do have a rookie quarterback with expectations for the Bears are maybe a playoff team, but that's still a road game. It's hard to win on the road. The Rams come to town. If Matthew Stafford is still there with Sean McVay, they're expected to make the playoffs this year. Then you take a look at on the road against the Dolphins and then against the Colts at home. Maybe that can be a victory. But the Super Bowl, people, for the New England Patriots, could it be that game in Week 15? But it's on the road against the Cardinals. Like, if Kyler Murray's back and playing decent football, they probably will win that game too. Where do the wins come from this year for the Patriots? Now, granted, Vegas making the odds, the FanDuel Sportsbook making the odds, they're not dumb. So you take a look at the price points here, right? The playoffs, plus 920 for the Patriots. We don't expect them to get there. The AFC East, 24-1 to win the division. I don't think that's going to happen. Worst record in the NFL, a 3-1 price here. And also, if you can put, do we have is it 4.5? What's the team total of the Patriots? I believe it's 4.5 games. Like, I just went over that schedule. It's hard to even find a win. Maybe it's the Titans. Maybe it's the Cardinals. But both of those games are on the road. Where are 5 wins coming from the Patriots? Now watch. We understand how the NFL works sometimes. They'll upset the Bengals on the road, handle the Seahawks at home, 2-0 Patriots, best story in football. We've seen some crazy shenanigans like that in the NFL in the past. But for my money, The Patriots aren't getting any of it except for unders on the season and also from a game-to-game basis. The whole definition of the Patriots season will be, hey, guys, let's play really good defense, even though we traded our best defender away here on the defensive line that can actually sack the quarterback. What are they going to win games? 17-13, 17-10, 17-14, 21-20 if we're lucky at this point? It's kind of wild how that's going to figure out. But then again, there is a team on the opposite side that the New England Patriots are going to play tonight, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. And you heard me, as an Eagles fan, not understanding the whole total process of nobody on the offense going to get any run in the preseason, which looks like that could be the case. Maybe Nick Sirianni, head coach, is going to say, you know what? Let's get these guys some run. Let's get the good vibes. Let's get a touchdown drive together before we take on the Green Bay Packers overseas down in Brazil. But the Philadelphia Eagles, much different scenario this season than the New England Patriots. Patriots 4.5 win total. The Philadelphia Eagles at a 10.5 win total. To win the division themselves, a minus 140 price. They didn't win it last year. They should have won it last year. They collapsed at the end of the season. The Dallas Cowboys won the division. So the Eagles looking to come back. And keep in mind, that real quirk with the NFC East, guys. No division winner in the NFC back-to-back since 2004. Eagles win a Super Bowl 13-1 price. And, of course, to make the playoffs at a 290. I think the Eagles have a solid season, but there's a lot of question marks. There really are. The one question mark I don't have with the Philadelphia Eagles, honestly, is the offense. Understandably, Jason Kelce retired in the offseason, maybe one of the best centers to ever play in the NFL, certainly the best center in Philadelphia Eagles history. And that's going to be a slight issue here. But that offensive line still ranked anywhere in that top 5, top 6 range in the NFL. That should be good enough. Jalen Hurts, from all indications through the practice reports and the beat writers writing out, hasn't thrown a single interception in training camp. Is that huge for the regular season? Well, it's better than throwing 15 or 20 interceptions to your own teammates or those joint practices. I understand that, but looks more healthy. The scrambling ability, which is a little bit hampered down the stretch last year with that knee, doesn't look like it's an issue. Saquon Barkley comes over from the New York Giants. And what does that mean? A dominant ground game here. Anytime you're running RPO between Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, that's going to be an issue. You take a look at the tight end, top 5 in the league, Dallas Goedert. Look at the wide receiver position, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Probably the best overall tandem in the NFL, but certainly in that argument if you don't place them number 1. The questions for me aren't coming up on offense. Last year, you had a bad offensive coordinator, blew that system out. Now you take a look at Nick Sirianni bringing in Kellen Moore to run his own system. Things should improve and be more competent because the one thing the Eagles didn't do the past 2 years is a lot of pre-snap motion. Kellen Moore's going to put that in place so you're not so predictable where the other defense is screaming out loud exactly what your play call is. Flip it over to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Here's what's key. Last year, Matt Patricia calling the shots here. Sean Desai, a complete whiff on the defensive coordinator, which leads to confusion in the secondary and from the linebacker position. How many blown plays did you see out of the Philadelphia Eagles down the stretch? They embarrassed themselves on that Monday Night Football playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wide open routes all night long. Vic Fangio brought in for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's just designed to be that old school defensive coordinator to teach the young players exactly where to be. It's just up to them to make some plays. The Eagles, I thought, had a very good draft, re-upping that secondary and making it a little bit more like, you know what? We might be able to shut some guys down. We'll see if that linebacking core, which the Eagles are notorious for not spending a lot of money on, picked up Devin White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as that veteran presence. Nakobe Dean coming back into the lineup after last year, sitting out the majority of the season on IR. Now, you do lose Hassan Reddick to the Jets. I guess you could say he went to the Jets as he hasn't shown up to camp yet. So there are question marks on that defense. Can they be a shutdown defense? But in today's NFL, do you absolutely need a shutdown defense? No. You just need to have at least an average defense to go along with a dominant offense, and you can win a lot of football games. So case in point, do I think the Philadelphia Eagles can win the NFC East? I really do think they will win that because, again, the vibes for the Eagles much, much higher than the Cowboys right now. As Jerry Jones continues to tell you, hey, you know what? I think we'll get this deal done with CeeDee Lamb, even though we're not even close at this point. We have 2 weeks left until we hit the starting line of the regular season. So many things to be ironed out, so many crazy options on the table. But if we're looking at the NFC East, I think it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Do I think they get to 11 wins and go 11-6? I think they do. Are they making the playoffs? Yup. It's just a matter if they can be one of the best teams in the NFC, which has a lot of talent in the San Francisco Giants, the Detroit Lions, and so on here.